Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of UK's Virtual Cafe in conversation with famous digital influencer Mr. Benjamin Jenks. I'm sure most of us have already seen his YouTube videos or read about him in magazines, but to those who are not tech savvy, here's a short introduction. Born in Texas, USA, Benjamin Jenks is a real life Cupid who has dedicated his life to help a growing number of adults in the dynamic world of online dating. His skills have been recognized by GQ magazine, Forbes, Vice, Today Show, BBC, and CNN. He has earned his master's in psychology from the University of Michigan. Mr. Jenks is an avid traveler who visited several countries as Australia, Canada, Mexico, Portugal, Netherlands, Dominican Republic. But all of a sudden, Mr. Benjamin Jenks decides to come to India and develops a passionate love affair with the country. As a result, nowadays, he spends time YouTubing about his life as an avid American tourist in India and blogging about his website, chinomad.com. Even in the ongoing quarantine, he has decided not to stay anywhere else but India. So let's begin the conversation. So first of all, what inspired you to choose the offbeat and unconventional job of an online dating advisor?
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I wanted to work online. I enjoyed writing. Same time, I was also starting to use online dating. And one of the jobs that I saw was to be a ghostwriter for a dating coach. And I thought that would be an interesting job. So I pitched her, that whatever I could say nice about myself with online dating and that I could write for her. And I got that job. And that job then allowed me to get other jobs in the industry. And so, 5 years went on until I started working at a company that did that specifically, and then sort of just rose up in that company. But there wasn't a master plan to work in dating. It just, it was something that I was interested in. Like you said, I went to school for psychology. I always thought it might be interesting to be like a marriage counselor of some sort, because I think that's such a rewarding, something.
Born Cupid.
So yeah, that's sort of that's the quick version.
So what is Benjamin Jenks' unique selling point in the dating market?
Well, there are very few people in the world that have sent as many messages and written as many profiles. I think there's probably, I'd probably have sent more messages and written more profiles than anyone in the entire world. So if that's like a selling point, like, I guess I would have that.
Okay, that's interesting. Nice. So here's a funny question, and I'm sure all the women watching this video must relate to this. So what advice do you have for the good-looking men in the dating circle who are stupid and commitment phobic? As a counselor, what's your advice?
What advice do I have for men?
For men, for good-looking men
in
the dating circle who are stupid and commitment phobic.
Oh, that's a tough question. You're a good reporter there. Let's see.
Thank you.
Gosh, that's tough. What would I say? Well, in my experience, the fear of commitment, and people have a good, it is something to be wary of commitment, because having a marriage, that's your whole life with someone else. So it makes sense why you would have that fear. However, you also see how rewarding it is for people to have relationships that have gone on for many years. And one thing that I love about India is the families most people have is so it's something that I can tell that I lack over here. Because my family's so far away, to watch people, how they, as I'm watching it from an outsider, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that I look forward to having in the future. So if someone's scared of commitment, and yet thinking of giving it a try, I would say, give it a try.
That's wonderful. Yeah, very, very inspiring. So all ears to you. Now, when it comes to relationships and marriage, what are your observations about Indian women in particular, and what advice would you offer them?
advice? What are my, okay, so let's start with my observations about
Yes.
Indian women.
In the context of relationship, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I don't feel, so one thing that I think that I'm good at is experience about something to not try to pretend like I do. Like I have experience with online dating, like I can write a good profile and help people write good messages. But when it comes to giving someone advice, like love is such a complex thing that I don't pretend or think that I know more than any other average person. Can I write a decent message that someone could respond? But yes, I can do that, and even in the work that I did, I helped people get in a room where they made it all happen. There's nothing that I would have said on a message. Like, who remembers the message they sent to you? You don't remember that. You're looking in their eyes and you're talking to them, and you either feel it or you don't feel it. And it has nothing to do with some random dude like myself said, in a little message, a couple days ago. So that's, I know that didn't specifically answer your question, but hopefully that gave you a little bit more of a sense.
Okay, so
I think they seem to be doing pretty well.
All right, I'll take that as a compliment. So here's a random question for you. Have you ever been hit upon by an Indian woman? Yes or no? Nothing much complicated.
Not in person.
Okay, fine. We'll move on to the next question. So what are the do's and the don'ts you would advise to newcomers on Tinder, Bumble, or Okcupid?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I would say, think of 3 things about yourself that your friends genuinely appreciate about you, and make those things the highlight of your profile. I would say that having a sense that this is like a fun process that might work out and might not work out works better than if you're the type like, I'm going to meet someone and I'm going to be, I'm going to share all these, I would treat it more like you're going to a social event and you're meeting a lot of people for the first time. And you're saying relevant things, like what do you say when you meet someone for the first time? You talk about kind of, you don't share too much information yet. You wait till you meet someone to do that. So I would say having that sort of attitude can really help you enjoy it better, help someone focus on like, okay, so a few attractive things about yourself. Do we feel like we should meet and just have a short meeting, have some tea, have some coffee? Because that's where you'll really know if you'll have a connection with somebody.
So how is online dating different from dating in pubs and nightclubs?
Well, I think online dating isn't really online dating.
Okay.
You're not going on a date. Like you're looking at a profile, you're seeing if you have a little bit of banter, like you do their messages, but hopefully you're going to meet up with them if you do like, and that's where you'll really know. So I don't really see it as a date. I don't know what I would necessarily call it, but in a pub or a nightclub, I mean, in some ways it's better. Often drinking alcohol, in a pub or a nightclub. So, that has its downsides too, although being in person, I think has a benefit. So it kind of, pros and cons either way.
Okay. So after working in the field of relationship for many years, what are your thoughts on hookup, live-in relationship, and marriage?
I think there is, if someone wants to do something and the other person also wants to do that, then I say, that's your life. And, what do I know about how you should best live your life? I can't say that I do. I have friends who are married and they're very happy they're married, and I look at them and I'm like, wow, what they have is so beautiful. I look at friends who are bachelors or single, and you can tell like that's the way that they live their life and makes them happy, and that's beautiful too. So I think people are trying to figure it out, and it's a tough thing.
Okay, what's your idea of an ideal relationship?
Personally, like my
Yes.
ideal relationship?
Yes.
I mean, I can see myself eventually settling down with someone. I'm still single. So yeah, and having a typical, I'm not going to say I really want to get married or I don't, but what I've found, once you meet someone, that relationship has a momentum all of its own, and it would make sense. I could see myself getting married. If that never happens, then I'm okay with that too.
Good luck with you.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's play a short rapid fire. So
Okay.
imagine you are on Tinder, and if you face these situations, how are you going to react? Okay? Yeah. So the first situation is you like someone, and what would be your conversation starter?
A great topic for a conversation starter is food. Messages with the topic of food. People like to talk about food, so, and then I would make it very easy to answer. So maybe a few years ago, let's say I was doing this a few years ago, I would pick a topic that people like to talk about. So pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Could be a simple icebreaker, because in America, people have a lot of, people feel strongly like whether pineapple should actually be on pizza, and a lot of people like pizza. So that can get the ball rolling,
Okay, this
at
is
the start.
interesting.
Now,
How would you translate this in the Indian context? Pineapple on pizza. How would you
I would think of a controversial food topic in India. What's a topic that people have an opinion on?
Okay, I have.
Either way.
Okay.
And maybe you'd be talking, you would know this better than me, but like North Indian food versus South Indian food, there's a rivalry there a little bit,
Okay, yeah,
maybe
got
something
you.
like that will be.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so food basically. You
Yeah.
mean food. Nice. So what is the funniest pickup line ever used on you?
I don't know. There haven't been too many. Let's just say that.
Come on, you can tell us. That's all right.
I really,
We
I
are
do not know.
millennials. We are used to it. Come on.
I cannot remember a single pickup line anyone has ever used on me.
All right. So decent person out there. Okay, so the person you like stops replying you. What would you text her?
Okay, well, or just the general attitude. Because I think what a lot of people do wrong is they get offended, and then they'll be like, they'll just send a question mark, or they'll be like, why didn't you write me back? That's a big no-no. I would just assume she's busy, and I know that women in a big city in America, they can get 30 messages every day when they're starting. And so I'm just gonna think, okay, well, what am I like, and what is she gonna respond to? It's probably something a little bit funny. It's probably gonna have a little bit of teasy, sort of, kind of like you would tease a friend, so it would have something of the vibe. Like, I know you're probably waiting to write me this amazing message, but you really don't have to do all that, and then add a funny little question that's super easy to answer.
Okay.
Maybe about food again.
Gotcha again. You're smart. Is it in the DNA of the people in Texas? Are they naturally conversational?
People in Texas are very friendly.
All right.
It's a wonderful.
We'll get to that later. So the fourth question in the rapid fire is that now we have chatted on for a while. I'm sure you are aware about my personality, at least for a little bit. So if one of your clients swipes right on me or a personality like me, what line of action would you suggest him? Oh, it's just a rapid fire, nothing serious, okay? Right. Yeah.
Sure. So you're obviously passionate about journalism and things like that. So I would probably use that as a topic and have a simple question. You're very busy. So maybe I just have him read. You could probably easily find you online. So read your, something that you obviously were proud of and passionate about, and be like, oh, did you do this? Ask you a simple question about it. So then you're like, he's interested in what I'm interested in. Great.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean,
would that work?
I'm a slow thinker when it comes to sensitive issues like that.
Sure.
I just have to, because since you are asking me, it's my, I've not been in a place like that. but my friends are in a relationship, and so I've seen that people, when they are dating, they are different people, and when finally they are in relationship, they are different people. So until I get to actually recognize the real person behind the mask, behind the wheel, behind the advertisement, behind the pitch, I'm not going to step into the ball game. Now let's see, it's an organic process for me.
Okay. That makes sense.
But yeah, it was very, very impressive, sure. I mean, so tell me about your life as a successful YouTuber. Why did you start YouTubing? And what is your
I
daily
love.
schedule when you are working on a video?
Okay. Um, so I love to. I got started with photography a while back, and just always loved taking photos of people. That led to making videos for my friends of my photographs, and they liked them, and I like to make them, and so just that grew. So while I was in India, there's so much creative inspiration for someone who likes people like myself. People are everywhere. You have a camera, and many people will want to talk, or they'll want to say hello, or they'll want to be on camera. And I just think India has a very humorous culture from my perspective. A lot of friendly people, they're like characters, a lot of them. And so to go interact with them and make videos is a lot of fun for me. You had asked about a daily schedule too?
Yeah.
So I don't have a specific daily routine. I try to get in one each week, but I fail each week as well. But typically what happens is I'll shoot either one day and I'll be done. This week I shot yesterday, and I shot the day before, and I shot this morning. Editing probably in one day, maybe the next day.
All right. So basically, your video creation process lasts for 3 days, right? I mean, including the ideation, research, and then going to the field, and then editing, post-production. How long does it actually take?
So ideation is something that I'm always doing, jotting down ideas. I'm watching YouTube, so I'm always kind of keeping track. Then when the week starts, the type of videos I'm making now take more time than when I started. When I started, I would do my research in a few hours, or a period of time, and then I would just sit down, I would talk about it, and then I would edit it in one day. So it just took 2, but now it's taking me a lot more. Like this video took me like a half day. It takes a whole day to do the editing often, sometimes 2 days. So yeah, it takes a lot of time.
I mean, and I'm very glad, I'm very grateful for all the efforts that you put into your creative work. And please continue to influence others in a very good way, and your efforts are very fruitful. I mean, I personally feel enlightened and a refreshing perspective about not only India or America, but my surrounding in general. I mean, my outlook, it changes. It changes you. And I'm sure all of your 23,000 subscribers would agree to me. So coming to that, what are your quick suggestions for people who want to become famous on YouTube? Or create a viral video, or increase the subscribers? Yeah, like, do you follow any formula? I mean, since you have a lot of subscribers, and your engagement also is very high. Like people, sometimes you see people have subscribed a lot, but they rarely comment. But when people see your video, they actually think over it, and they leave a lot of good comments. I've read them personally. So what is your formula behind this success?
Yeah, what I would say, so, I'm going, the way that I'm going is providing people information. And, because some people are just very good on camera, and they're like the movie star type, and that's not me. So what I'm doing is, okay, people want information about India. I know people who are traveling here want it, and I'm seeing that Indians are wanting it from a different perspective as well. So I'm finding information that people might not have. And then I just have the skill to edit. So I like to edit, and I like to make nice shots. So you mix all those together, and I also just do research about, what do people actually want? So what other people are making similar videos. I like other people making videos about India, so I'll look and I'll get inspired and I'll have a thought of, oh, I want to make it, but from this angle, or, but they didn't say this, and I think that's very important. So yeah, but I think the main thing is, if you're going to make informational videos, which I would recommend, because I think anyone can do it, like if they have something that they're interested about, do the work and then share it in a way. It doesn't have to be, I have a skill with editing, but even if someone doesn't, you could have all the information and say it into a screen. And I think a lot of people like that kind of video too. If you want to learn something, if you can teach me, I don't care about all the little edits.
Yeah, so all right. So basically the critical point is to find your interest, your topic of interest, and have enough dedication and passion to research deep into it and share something, you share a unique point of view or unique perspective about it to the audience, right? In a nutshell.
Yeah, that's the nutshell. Yeah, I like that nutshell.
So now let's talk about your hometown. How did you enjoy your life growing up in Texas, Austin?
Well, I lived in Texas for 6 years, but I'm from Michigan, actually.
Oh, Michigan.
So Michigan's like a northern. Yeah, Michigan's a northern. It's a cold place. I tease my family because I've only worn socks like 3 times since I've been in India. I used the year in Michigan, so I got to tease them a little bit. But Michigan, they're super nice people. So it's known for just having the Great Lakes all around it, and people go to their cottage on a lake. So both of my mom and my dad have little cottages. They're older and retiring or retired. So we'll go and be the family and sit by the lake. And it's a beautiful, nice way to live too. A lot of beautiful forests.
This is something we both have in common. Michigan is a city of lakes. The place where I live, Thane, near Mumbai, is also called the city of lakes. And nice. It has a special Wikipedia page dedicated to it, Thane, the city of lakes. And it's the same custom here. If you want to hang out with your family, your friends, you just go to lakes and sit by and enjoy the moment. I understand what it is. So I'm now able to understand what it is like for you to grow up in Michigan, and exciting. It's very exciting to learn this new information. So Michigan and Bombay can be sister cities. Yeah,
there we go.
So what exactly attracted you to India and eventually stay on for 2 long years even in quarantine?
Yeah. I came here on a short trip. Well, I originally read a book about India. It describes India. It just drew me in, and
the voice broke. So could you name the book for our audience? I'm already aware of it, but I want you to name it. Yeah.
Sure. Shantaram by something Roberts is his name.
Gregory.
But it's a long book. It's about Gregory Roberts. But if you want to read a good novel, it's a good novel, I think. So an ex-con comes to India, hides in a Mumbai slum, finds love, finds a spiritual path, becomes a doctor, and all these kind of things. But the way he spoke about India, it just sounded like a place that was far different from my experience. I love to travel. I always wanted to go overseas and live for a while, never sure where I wanted to do it. I didn't plan on living there. I took a short trip here, came back. As I was living in Austin, I was like, I kept thinking about India, and just Austin is the live music capital of the world.
Oh.
Night of the week, you can go find it. But I wasn't as interested in that. I used to like that, but I just found I probably hadn't went out to see live music, and what I was interested with, reading and working and movies, I could do that in India too. So when the opportunity came, I decided to move over here to see how long. I didn't plan on staying for a long time, but I had the option to stay, and so here I still am because I still like it.
Go on for as long as you can.
More?
And yeah, sure. And so,
Yeah.
a lot of other people will be able to interact with you and sort of learn your perspective about India. Because for anybody, it's very routine. I mean, you wake up when you're in your own country, you sort of wake up, you go to work, you go to college, you come back. But when you hear other people, and especially tourists from USA, they're very, very nice and very talkative, and they're very good at explaining and observing things. I mean, it sort of changes you, and you become more grateful and appreciative about basically where you are at the moment.
Yeah.
So what is the one thing you will never forget about India?
What's the one thing I will never forget about India? The people have made such a big impression. Just the genuine kindness, and the people who are so proud of where they live, and sharing, just a simple breakfast with you today. I'm out shooting a video. A nice guy's telling me about breakfast here, and he buys me breakfast even though I insist no, but he's like, no, please, this is my place. So, there's such the spirit of the Indian people is such a beautiful thing that I'll definitely, when I go back, I hope, as I get all old, that I hope that when people are traveling, I'll still be nice and help them on their journey wherever I'm staying.
And I'm also personally very appreciative about all the good Americans who see India as their spiritual retreat, educational destination, or work trip. And they come here and they very, very authentically, like you, embrace Indian culture for what it is.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. So we are all aware that India is often associated with biased and negative information in mainstream media. So in this context, what is the difference between India you see in Slumdog Millionaire and India in real life?
Okay. Well, maybe I should say that the media that I consumed, I never felt like it did have a negative. Aware, and you're probably reading things about India. To me, it was always portrayed well. When I saw Slumdog Millionaire, I was like, wow, that place looks amazing.
Okay, so, it's seen very differently in India. I mean, especially, but you do continue. Yeah. I'll get back to that afterwards.
Sure. But so I should say that I had that impression, that it was a place of history and health and spirituality, and just a much different way of approaching life that was interesting to me. So now that I've been here, though, and interacted with a lot of Indians through my YouTube channel, I do start to notice it more, and how people are sensitive to that subject. And it makes sense, too, because it reflects on them in a sense. And I feel protective in a way. I feel like, okay, well, I didn't start off wanting to do this, but if I could help people better understand how India is, then I think that's a positive thing. Because there's the typical things people talk about, that it's not clean and
poverty and all. Yeah,
poverty, everyone's poor. I think where I see people live, where I live, people live very well. There are many clean places that are very beautiful, and it is a lot different. It's a much more complicated, nuanced thing than what it is. You create articles and videos, so how certain things make it easier to stand out. Talking about poverty or something is an easy thing to talk about in a certain sense, but there's a lot more bigger picture going on. I mean, from what I've read, the Indian middle class is raised. You go to some cities like in Bangalore, and it feels like you're just in a U.S. city in certain parts of the city. So it's yeah. So yeah, the main point that I'm driving at is that there are many different aspects of India. And while it's easy to focus on the slums in Mumbai, if you're a YouTuber, you go there because people are interested in that subject. They'd like to see that place. But you're not going to go to the middle class suburb that's just a normal neighborhood that looks very similar to US, because it's not as easy to make a video about that. but that's there and it's growing. And so, yeah, there's a lot more. It's not as simple as it's made out to be.
And that's exactly what I love about your videos. It's not one-sided, it's a 360-degree perspective. And somewhere a middle ground for what it exactly is, basically. Not polarized, not on one side of the spectrum, but the whole spectrum. And you're really very good at it. And I really wish that you should travel to all the wonderful, wonderful countries around the world, and you should make videos about it.
I don't know about that, but I'm probably going to move back to America one day, buy a house, and never travel again. You know?
Oh my God! But, come to Mumbai before doing that. Do come to Mumbai.
I'm going to travel around India. I'm talking like over the next 5 to 10 years. I'll stay in India for a while.
All right.
But I think I've scratched my travel itch, you know, and so now I want to have a nice quiet home, live a nice quiet life one day. I can see that in the future.
Will you be going to Texas when you go back to US?
I am not sure. I'm going to go back. I'm going to buy a car and I'm just going to drive around the US and maybe. Yeah. So my plan, eventually, once I feel like it's time to leave India, I plan to move back to the US, buy some sort of car and go on a road trip to look for a place that I'd like to call home. I'd like to buy a little piece of land. I'm actually taking a home building workshop in India, just nearby next month. So I'd like to learn about just building a simple home and make a simple home and then, have a nice quiet little life.
Okay, I see a lumberjack over there, a southern lumberjack.
Southern lumberjack?
No, you. I mean, you said you were taking a home building.
Oh, me.
Building course. So I
yeah.
A lumberjack, wood and making house out of it, all that. Yeah. And a simple, quiet life in the countryside. Yeah. That's a very southern thing.
Yeah.
So what is your, so since you stretched about, the spiritual aspect of India, the spirituality of India is what actually attracted you to this country and made you stay on. So how did India actually change you spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically? Oh my God.
That's a tough question. A really tough question. You're giving it to me. Okay. I mean, I thought about that and I'm not really sure how. I think it will be easier for me once I go back to America to see how I've changed, because then I can see how I was and see how I am now. But moving to India was part of living a more simple life, focused on the things that I was really interested in, like making videos. I guess we could talk, I guess we could mention spirituality, but it's very hard for me to, I don't have to describe in words like what I've learned about spirituality or anything like that. Value what is true and just try to look for that, and it's just sort of as simple as that. There's plenty of people where I live that can talk about spirituality, so I'll let them go on. But because where I live it's a very spiritual place, so a lot of like spiritual gurus come here and they hold satsangs and things like that. So they could speak about it much better than I could.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty and your attitude, and I'm sure whatever time you take for the incubation of the thoughts, whatever you come up with may guide you to your purpose and to utmost happiness for the rest of your life. May the epiphany guide you always.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So, this is the last segment of the interview. What is your favorite Bollywood movie, favorite Indian food, and Indian song?
Okay. Well, I'm a big movie. I love movies. I watch a lot of movies. I'm interested in movies. They give me ideas for my YouTube videos. I like, how to pronounce his name? Sanjay Leela Bhansali?
Sanjay Leela Bhansali, yeah.
He's a
very famous director.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like
these,
the Christopher Nolan of costume dramas, basically.
I like
Yeah.
Historical, very beautiful. Indians' history was, so beautiful to me. I thought it was interesting how in the movies that I watched, the main characters often died at the end. In American movies, the main characters, they always survive. They always live. In Indian movies that I've seen, they die. I'm just like, this is kind of depressing, but great movies. I love those movies.
Yeah, in historical movies, yes, because the history of the medieval India has been very, turbulent and tragic, and people in Indian history have had to sacrifice a lot so that we enjoy the life that we are enjoying now. So maybe. But contemporary movies, they are just chill movies. That's the trope. Yeah, they're just chill masala movies. That's what Bollywood movies are often described as, masala movies.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
It's just a mix of all. Sort. It cannot be put in one particular genre. So that's why it's just a masala movie. But and the song and favorite song and food.
I'm not sure about
and food.
I'm not sure about a song. I actually don't have a favorite song. I only listen to American music. So I've listened to some Indian music, but I can't remember any of the names. I like some of the more classical Indian Karnataka songs. I listen to some of that. So very sort of peaceful and, but I don't remember where I live, they speak Tamil. So I'm learning some Tamil, but, Hindi, I have very little experience with it. And Tamil's even, very difficult. I was saying something to some man this morning, and I said it exactly. I was asking for some pongal for breakfast, and he's like, "Oh, pongal," I'm just like, yeah, so there's a pronunciation thing that I still am not good at, but I'm trying to learn. So I'm learning Tamil. I'm practicing with people on the street, and I'm terrible at it. So this morning I was asking for pongal, a typical South Indian breakfast. I was saying, "Do you have pongal?" It's like, "Pongal? Cool. Pongal?" And then he's like, "Oh, pongal." I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't see the difference, but there was obviously a big difference that he understood and I didn't. Okay. So that's pretty typical as I'm learning to know.
Right. All right. Yeah. Life is a journey, and you never learn enough. There are always things that you don't know. It's just a human experience. And great that you are experiencing it to its fullest potential. You are exploiting your opportunity to be born as a human, to be able to think critically, to be able to converse and communicate with people. It's really interesting. And so finally, for Indian audiences, could you sing a song or could you speak a Hindi-ish sentence so that we can conclude this interview on a very, very sweet note?
Since I'm learning Tamil, I've spent a little bit of time in the north, but I don't really know. Oh no, I don't have any Hindi that I know. I know a little bit of Tamil.
If you want to speak Tamil, you can. Sure.
Rumba Magachi would be a good way to end it. That means nice to meet you. You probably didn't understand it if you know Tamil, but...
Yeah, but I am sure people who do understand you are very delighted about your curiosity. And because there is a different language in India in different province and and even though I don't know the language, I'm very appreciative that you are trying to embrace yourself in the tapestry in the tapestry of your surrounding, that you are trying to blend with the tapestry of your surrounding. That's very appreciative. And so namaste and and see you around someday in real life. And keep spreading positive messages. In Hindi, you say it was nice to meet you. I'll just show you how to say nice to meet
Okay,
you.
yeah, please.
Yeah. आपसे मिलके बहुत अच्छा लगा. आपसे मिलके बहुत अच्छा लगा.
Yep.
अच्छा लगा.
आपसे मिलके बहुत अच्छा
अच्छा
लगा.
लगा. Yeah, that's correct.
आपसे मिलके. Okay.
बहुत अच्छा लगा. Oh
first
my
Hindi
God.
sentence. Thanks
That's
so much.
awesome. Yeah. and when you come to Mumbai, acha is a very exclamation. Okay, so acha.
Okay.
Just don't forget the word acha.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, famous.
And I plan on coming as much of India as I can, so I'm looking forward to that.